neither. But
these
you
people
know, but we
exist.
got to go to biology.
These
Yes.
people exist, and I think
What's up? What's up? What are you doing?
biologically it wouldn't work that way unless people continue to use the bathrooms of the gender that they are claiming, yeah,
Or that they were assigned at birth.
or that they were assigned at birth. It's either that or, like you say, you know, they make a special bathroom for transgender people, because this idea of a transgender woman with a beard going into a woman's toilet, or a transgender man with breasts going into men's toilet, is just absolutely crazy. I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
I think it's crazier than someone with male parts going into a woman's bathroom. I think that's way crazier. I would take someone with a beard over.
Well, like females' bathrooms are already separate.
I would take a beard over a dick.
But you don't know what that beard comes with.
Yeah.
So if someone was assigned female at birth, they've transitioned to male, and you're saying that they need to go with their biological sex or their gender assigned at birth. Yeah. So they could have gone through every single process to have bottom surgery, have top surgery. They've been through hormone therapy. They've been on hormones for like 10 years. They look like a cisgender man, but they've just followed you into a women's toilet because you said that biological women should go into the women's toilet.
Women's toilets already completely separate cubicles. Am I missing something? Like, I've never seen a transgender person's pee like ever.
But the whole point,
Like I hate to say this, I understand what Pearl is saying. The transgender thing is an interesting thing, and we have to be careful that we don't work on eggshell, like that we don't mess up anybody's feelings. Because I don't have a transgender in my family, but I kind of wonder if I had a transgender in my family, maybe I'd be talking more careful. But where she's coming from, I understand where she's coming from. She's coming from a point of view of like, you saying that I'm bad, I'm the bad person, but I'm just saying that like I'm used to men and women, and that has changed. So that's kind of like, that's what she's saying. And I think like the other people, they try not to understand. The fact that somebody else is comfortable doesn't mean that everybody should be comfortable.
the whole point
I
is
do think changing rooms is a bit different, but bathrooms is just like.
I mean, but I don't think we should be forced to share a bathroom with men.
That's
Like, that's
I'm just trying to figure out how you'd know, like, unless like someone obviously close to the beginning of their transition.
I mean, we already have a lot of units. Like,
Then I don't know how you would know.
I mean, it's pretty.
Unless they was to
I mean, I'm not
disclose
even
those
trying to be rude. It's pretty obvious. Like you can usually tell. Like even in this room, it was pretty easy for me to tell.
But does
Like,
it really matter unless they do something really bad? Does it matter, like, if you just see them coming in or out? Like, as long as you're not seeing anything bad.
But you're forcing me to pretend that there's something that they're not, and I don't.
Exactly. That's the situation for the other people. You're saying that like, are they still doing something bad? But in the other world, you can see that they might say that they did something bad because I'm a woman and I believe that women should go to that bathroom. Why is like a transition man? They're gonna tell you that because he has transition. But now we can have a more fair debate. It's like if the trans woman has transitioned fully and she looks like a woman, 1000%, even more feminine than some regular women, then there's a topic to be discussed here. Because if she really did the job, she really put in the work. I mean, that transgender woman, I think she's allowed to go to the bathroom. I think that's what it's about, actually. I actually think it's about that. It's about like how much work have you put in. But if you are like a transgender woman and you have a beard and you're wearing pants but you got an earring, it's so confusing. If it's confusing, then forget it. If it's not confusing that you're a full-blown transgender woman, then maybe you can go to the bathroom. But it's a very interesting topic. Those topics are very interesting.
You don't have to. You can still think they're what they are. You just wait
everyone's
for them to
entitled
leave.
to their own opinion.
But we're supposed to have it's supposed to be the women's locker room, the women's bathroom, and so it's like when we have to be okay with them coming in again. It's like you're asking me to accept that there's something that they're not.
No, I don't. Do you know what? It's not because your opinion at that point would have to be relevant to the person using the bathroom. So, like, for example, if a transgender person came into the bathroom and had to put up with your negative prejudice
My
opinion,
negativity, yes.
then it's up to that person
Right,
if
be
they give you
polite.
airtime. If they think that you're just some
I would
negative
go. I would
Nancy, they'll just go to the toilet and leave.
I'm actually like a Karen, so I would go to the manager and I would say, "Hey, there's a man in the bathroom."
And they'd probably ask you to leave.
So who would?
They'd probably ask you to leave.
Well, in this woke culture, yes, but I'm trying to
But
stop
do they
that.
really look completely like a man, or are they a transgender woman? They're trying the best.
See, I get really confused. All the words like the trans, cis, it just confuses me a bit. But if we're gonna go to the men that become women, I would say it's very easy to tell. Like at that tournament, I could say that one, that one, that one. I would say the other way around. It's a little harder. But it's still pretty easy to tell.
Say of all of the trans women that you've met, would all of them bother you, or some bother you more than others?
What do you? All
just
of
your
them,
feelings. All of them bother you about the same.
All of them, I would not want in the bathroom with me. Yeah.
I feel like we should base being sort of wary of people on when they actually do something bad.
No, but again, the policies because the issue is if we allow them in the bathrooms, then what's next? Then it's the prisons, then it's the sports. Like it just never stops.
So I mean,
there's always something they're going to be fighting for.
They have already regulated, at least in the UK, they've regulated the prisons pretty well. I do think there is still work to be done with sports, but these are all very individual issues that have different problems.
Yeah, I'm about to get kicked out of the league for it, to be honest. Because I said something about it.
I'll be honest, I think the biggest issue is you're just calling trans women men. I feel like if you'd have used their PC language, they probably couldn't have had as much issue.
But why do I have to?
Because it's respectful.
But why do I have to change? Why do I have to change my language?
Because it's disrespectful.
Because it's again,
it's like calling a black person an N-word.
I wouldn't say I wouldn't say that it's the same when it's what you're born as. It's your biology. So it's like
that's exactly
for me, it's just confusing because if someone doesn't say
niggers though.
No, but if you know the word in other languages, negro means black. Yeah,
so negro is different from nigger.
It doesn't matter.
Bruh.
Yeah,
it does matter. It does matter.
It's a terminology. Can I finish?
The other word is a slur.
Because you just cut me. Okay. Yeah, it's a terminology that people use, and black people do not like when it's used by people that are not black. Okay, this is classed as disrespectful. So my example, it doesn't need to be taken for word. It's if you've got a broad enough mind, you'll be able to look at the example and see that you're calling someone a word and a phrase that they find disrespectful. It could be someone that's obese, you're calling them fat. If you're a respectful person, you wouldn't call someone a terminology that offends them. If you're a disrespectful person, you won't mind because you would like to offend people and make people feel uncomfortable.
I don't agree with that because I don't agree with that because
I think saying if someone's fat and they deserve to die or something is bad.
Exactly.
I don't think saying like fat is
exactly.
bad.
My argument was black people are not born Negroes, but trans women are born men.
What are black people born?
They are born as black people.
And what does Negro mean in other languages?
Negro. If you go and check the...
Do you mean like Spanish words?
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it because it sounds too similar.
Yeah. I know the history, but the example, you're clinging on to one part.
You know, it was used as a slur. That's different. You being born as a man is not a slur. It's reality.
Cis is a word used to explain a biological person. It's a slur. It's all words. It's all words that can cause offense. If you want to use it, fine.
But now you guys are demanding that we change our language to accommodate
you.
For me,
it's just confusing. So I need to know if we're talking about men or trans women. So if you keep calling trans women men, I don't know what we're talking about at a certain point. We kind of have to use these labels, otherwise the conversation.
But that's the byproduct of this whole thing. It's not the original way human beings have been thinking for the past couple of years that's causing these problems.
But trans people have been around for a while.
It's the new way of thinking. No, but trans people have been around, but there has been a way of thinking for the past couple of thousands of years.
Yeah, it wasn't spoke about. Like with the gay community, not a lot of people came out that they were gay for a very long time. They hid it, and it's the same with the trans community. Not
why do you think that is?
Until they feel comfortable enough to discuss their sexuality, their gender, they are not gonna come out and say, "Oh, I'm this." Or
gay people suffered in the same way that trans people did, right? Everyone assumed all the gay men in the bathrooms are trying to fuck the kids, and there was a lot of pedophile. Like we kind of evolved our thinking from this, and I have a lot of empathy towards people that are wary about their kids being trans. It's a lot, and there's a lot of discussion about whether X, Y, or Z is safe, and etc. But the reality is, we did move on from that. I want to say that was like the 90s where we were having these types of things.
George Michael and right?
Yeah, sort of thing. Yeah. But then I'm also not really convinced there is like a transgender ideology. I know this kind of upsets a lot of people. I do think that how things are is a mess. I do think in certain situations it's not quite there yet. I think in a lot of sports it's a mess. I think I completely understand the anxiety, especially around changing rooms, because being naked is a vulnerability, and I don't want to, like, I'm a cis woman. I don't like being naked around anyone. It doesn't feel good. And if one of the people was like a pre-op transgender person, it would feel uncomfortable, but I feel uncomfortable all the time. So I don't know how much to base my feeling on what should be policy. I do think that these things could be fixed easily. Just fucking everyone should have their own cubicles. But I also realize that in a lot of situations there isn't that yet, right? If you're playing sports in a place that doesn't have those like facilities, that sucks for you. And I don't want to like disregard that. Again, like cis women are a protected class. Transgender women are a protected class, and I think people are trying to kind of
protect?
I want to ask the audience a question. Do you guys think it would have been a good idea to have like a team, right? Like a basketball team or football team? No, basketball team. Maybe football is too rough. But basketball team with men and women mixing it. That would be interesting. I don't know. I think that would be interesting. I understand some people might not like this, but I would like to see that. Like, forget about the gender division. Let's make it all mix.
Protected class. What does it even?
We have protected, when it comes to like the law and things, when it comes to sexism and things that can negatively affect us, there are certain things that make us protected. But what there is for transgender women is a little bit different. Well, transgender people in general. But anyone that is a protected class is like Black people, for example, or it's just different things that are put in place to consider that we're, different from
a minority. That's the word I was looking for earlier.
But women aren't a minority.
But I still don't understand what you were saying earlier, like why I should be punished for my speech when what I'm saying is true.
No, you shouldn't be punished.
So like with the no, I was talking to you because you said you wouldn't have like been in that situation if you just used their pronouns. So it's like, why do I have to change my language when what I am saying is true?
I'm just saying. So it's not necessarily that you're wrong or that you need to change your language. I'm saying if you want to win a fight and not necessarily just get kicked out of the volleyball league or kicked out of this or that, you have to adopt the way that other people are thinking, or they're just going to completely disregard you. And you might see that as being really unfair, but the world is you have to adapt to the way that other people are being so that you can play them at their game. And if you don't do that, they just don't care. And they're not going to engage with you. They're going to get rid of you. And to be fair, calling a trans woman a man is kind of transphobic. It is.
But they are.
They're a biological man, but they've
No, but like, Pearl, I disagree with you. I think I disagree with you. You can say they are men, but they're not men anymore. Because if they have done all the work and do all the testosterone replacement and all that stuff, they kind of like trans women. They are like, because they have changed. Because there's some trans women that I've seen that they talk, and their voice sounds like a woman voice. I don't know if that has to do with the transition, but I'm just saying that there's a couple of trans women that I've met that even their voice has changed to like a kind of like semi-woman, not fully woman, but kind of like closer to women voice. So so it's okay biologically to say that yes, but they are like transitioning women. The trans women, I don't think they are telling us to call them women, right? Cis women. They're not saying to call them. They say to call them trans women. So they really respect their specific term. So I think it's okay. I want to be fair to the trans community, I want to be fair to them. Like, that is a fair viewpoint here. That's fair.
To a trans woman, I think it's fine to call them a trans woman.
And in personal relationships, like, I mean, I'm not gonna call someone their opposite pronoun like when I meet them.
Yeah, when you know them, you're
yeah, but I'm saying like I can't tweet that I don't want men in our locker rooms. I can't tweet that I don't want men in our sports.
But you could tweet, I don't want transgender women in my locker rooms.
But what I'm saying is true, though. And there shouldn't even be like a but. You could phrase it like that. Like, why do we have to change our speech when we're talking about things that are true?
It's because even if you don't think that trans women are women, they're also not really men anymore either. So they're kind of, they're their own thing. Like, and they're under the umbrella. So I see women as an umbrella term, okay? So like cis women are there, but trans women are under this umbrella, and I do think they are protected.
I think I agree with her. That's exactly what I say. It's amazing that she hit the point. They are not men, but they are like in the middle. They are what they are, the transition woman. It's a transition person. There's somebody that has transition, but they're not men and they're not women.
Class, they suffer from a lot of things that we do, some to a worse extent. Like the rate of death for Black trans women is really bad, especially in America. Like, they do suffer a lot, and I do appreciate these things.
Have you seen the rate of death of men?
Death of men?
Yes.
In which by other men?
No, just the rate of death of men. Because I just think the real problem of this whole thing is the censorship. I think
I was talking about murder rather than just...
I get, but I just think the real problem is censorship. I think trans women, trans people should be allowed to do whatever they want. But you can't censor other people's opinions.
No, you can't.
Yeah, that's wrong.
I'm not saying that Pearl should be censored. I'm saying that if she wants to win
but that's basically what the policies and society is doing. They're censoring people, even from what you're saying, the way you've been saying, like, well, you should phrase it different. Why can't we just say it how we want to say it?
You can say it, but you just need to be aware that you may cause offense. And if you're happy to do that and happy to receive the backlash after what you said, then that's fine.
I don't care about offense. Like, people can be offended. My issue is when I'm now getting kicked out of a league and now I'm getting other repercussions because I said something that's true.
Because some people might not want to endorse you. So some organizations might not want to endorse you, knowing that you have that opinion.
And I think that's wrong.
And that's why a lot of celebrities
even if someone was a super far leftist, like if you played on my, maybe you're kind of left, but like on my volleyball league, like I think it's wrong that they cannot play because of an opinion.
I mean, I agree. I mean, like, I do music, and I think that, within the artistry world and all of that stuff, people want you to have like a certain type of personality and be super friendly and all of that stuff, and kind of being nonchalant and private doesn't really get people anywhere. So I agree that, certain things should be separated. You should separate who an individual is to what they do, because sometimes, in my opinion, some of the most magnificent people are weird, and that's what makes them so magnificent, because they're different. They're a little bit strange to some people, and I think it's okay for everyone to have an opinion. It's okay for everyone to speak about their opinion. These debates are good. It spreads awareness, it spreads knowledge, but we have to also be aware that sometimes we're going to cause offense. Do you know what I mean? To some people.
Yeah, I don't care.
Not just that don't agree with us, but it's the way in which we word things. It's the way in which we say things. We can put on, like you said, we can put our opinions across in a way that doesn't cause offense. People will listen and be like, okay, hold on.
You only really get to pick offensive or actually productive. You can't really do both. And it's fine if you want to say things the way you do.
We can't, wait. Our only two options are offensive and productive.
If you don't seem reasonable to the other party, they're not going to engage.
But I can't help how I seem. Like, I can't help their feelings. And at the end of the day, it's like, if we're talking about things that are true, they're true. And I can't help.
Pearl, it's not true anymore. If a trans woman has transitioned, she's no longer a man. She's no longer like a full-blown man like me. But I can understand where you're coming from. She still might be able to cause harm to a woman because she still has the power. I see what you mean, but like, she's not like a full-blown man. You have to recognize that also. She's not a full-blown man. That's if the trans woman have done the transition. But now things get shady, right? Because I understand what Pearly is saying. Somebody identifies as a trans woman. They go into the restroom. Who's going to know that she has done all the transition? Nobody's going to know. nobody's gonna check that at the West Room door, right? That's what it's kind of like what you're worrying about. Like, yeah, probably that's
someone else feels about a fact, about something that is true.
That's fine, and it's not necessarily about feelings, but it's like enough of the population has agreed on a, let's just say, societal whatever.
No, I think it's a small percentage of the population that's pushing the societal contract.
But if you're engaging with that small percentage of the population and they're in charge of governing bodies that affect your sport,
well, yeah, and that's,
you have
and that's
to meet
the issue.
them in the middle.
No, and the issue is that they get in charge of these organizations. When I was interviewing girls at the tournament, a lot of people didn't agree with it. A lot of people were against it, but they can't say anything because of these because of these because of the governing bodies. So it's like I can't even speak out that I don't want them in my sports.
I mean,
and if I'm being honest, and no, but the issue is like this language. I'm sorry, it's so confusing.
No, but
to the average person, cis, trans. I'm sorry, I'm not even trying to be rude. It's confusing.
Right.
Like gender fluid. They're adding in all these words: gender fluid.
It's because of what you say.
Non-binary. I don't know what any of this means anymore.
It's not that confusing to just call trans women trans women.
No, but then there's cis. Then there's non-binary, gender fluid. All this shit's confusing.
What you call biological women doesn't really matter that much. It doesn't. But what if you're calling? Aside from it just being fucking confusing, because we do need to differentiate.
You do. It's because of what you say.
You
want to differentiate.
Otherwise, it
goes back to what you said. You want to be able to call a woman that's born a woman, a man that's born a man, a man, and then if you've transitioned, you're called a trans woman or a trans man.
No, I don't want new language. I just want
otherwise you can't.
But what you want and what exists is
I want the same language we've used for the last 500 years.
Okay, transgender has existed for how many decades?
What's crazy?
Come on.
At the end of like even when it comes to being gay,
so it's new, right? In the 80s, from a historical point of view,
it's only new in regards of like what we can do with surgery. That's the only thing new.
Ancient Greece had trans people everywhere.
Do you know what?
We don't
quite likely.
How much of our history?
How many of us in here speak Latin?
It's been proven that throughout tribes throughout the world there have been trans people or people that don't conform to a single gender.
Across the board. I mean, I'm. You might be right.
But just because it's not necessarily in societal terms, or even like now, like if you think even about being like homosexual, for example, quite like homosexuality pretty much got eradicated from society. It was only seen underground. Because, well, for one, colonial laws made homosexual behavior illegal, but it took a long time for gay people to come out of the woodwork.
Still is illegal some places.
Exactly. There are certain people, like for example, there's like a whole, pretty much a whole generation of like gay men that just aren't talked about because that was before.
Yeah, so that's what I want to talk about there, guys. Thank you guys for watching my channel. I hope that you enjoyed this.